Oh. Yeah, it's rolling. We're broadcasting. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Techniques for Designing with Drupal. I'm Daniel Scudoni with Snake Hill Web Agency from down in Baltimore. I see a few people here saw DrupalCon, the best DrupalCon ever in Baltimore. Just a few things before we begin. I'd like to find out a little more about who's here. How many people consider themselves web designers? Okay. How many people consider themselves themers? Wow, one here. How many people consider themselves front-end developers? How many people know the difference between those three things? And that's sort of where this talk is going, right? So there's quite a bit in this talk. Well, first of all, I'm glad there's an event like Design for Drupal that focuses on design. I had the honor of being one of the track chairs for DrupalCon Baltimore, and got to choose select sessions for the front-end track. And there was quite a bit of debate where design fit in, and it was, I think, it caused a little bit of ruckus because I thought design would be in the title of one of the tracks, or we needed to be clear where design fit in. We have to, Drupal community as a whole has to attract more designers and be more designer friendly. I'm not a designer though. But my background is in visual arts, and I'm kind of another thing. So we've got a lot of questions are going to be brought up by this presentation. Some answers. This presentation is morphing into a bigger presentation, so I'll try to move along pretty quickly. We're going to start off with a history of art web design, sort of a art history lecture with a web design spin. We're going to talk about some challenges with web design and web design with Drupal, and we're going to talk about process, and we're going to talk about some tools. So first, the art history 101. Who's ever taken an art history class? Right. So usually, well, I mean, we used to start with this image here, the Venus of Mindorf. Now there's older things. Now there's cave paintings 40-some thousand years ago. So the way I'd like to describe our primitivism for web design, or some of the aspects of primitivism, prehistoric painting and sculpture are just very limited, very crude, right? So when we go to the very first website ever, all we have is HTML and links. We have links and text, right? That's about it. There's a header tag, but this is the very first website from 1992. This one, it was first put up in 91, Berners-Lee. The first web server, I thought this was curious, was a Next computer. And the first browser was called Nexus, and then soon after that we had Netscape. So let's move on to the medieval phase. And here we have tables, we have, sometimes this is in art, we talk about this as the Dark Ages, which is sort of a problematic term because it's looking at it from a different point of view, our point of view. Medieval ages in web, we've got tables, we've got some programming languages popping up like PHP and Ruby. And we've got this great book that's going to tell us how to make killer websites. And here's the original site for the book. At that time, this was what you had this was the prime resource for making cutting edge websites. Right? And then we had the .com bubble. So we had all these pet stores online and lots of stocks being traded. And here's the graph here, the stocks going up and up and up and up at the top. It's about 2002. And then we had the crash. And we have some survivors like Amazon.com, but took out a big swath of internet startups. And then we have the Renaissance. So we've got, and the Renaissance is, we have some new techniques in the art world. We have chiaroscuro, we have perspective. We had sort of a going, relearning some things that the Romans and the Greeks knew that somehow kind of lost favor during the Middle Ages. So you have linear perspective, atmospheric perspective, spatial perspective, things that don't really show up in medieval painting, which is more based on the narrative and the size of things. It's not based on their placement in space, but on the story being told. And in the Renaissance in the web, 2002 to 2006 is where we're putting this. We got JavaScript, we have Flash, we have CSS now, and things. This is the Flickr site from 2005. Obviously, a survivor into modern times, but we're doing video, we're doing photos, and we've got some advanced functionality there. We have some advertisements. Things are coming along quite nice.
Are you recording?
I believe so.
Okay, I want to make sure you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Great, and now that brings us to modernism. So it's interesting, comparing modernism to the web modernism, is that modernism in art was a reaction to the invention of the camera. There's some other technical innovations at the time, like putting paint in tubes, painting on canvas, portability of the medium, plein air painting, all that stuff. And there's a certain truth to the medium, so we don't have to depict what we actually see. We're not going to compete with the camera. We're going to be true to our medium, and the medium is flat. It's a canvas when we're talking about painting and two-dimensional artwork. So there's awareness of the object, and this evolves into a sort of conceptualism. Into suddenly we had art history in the Renaissance, and now we have art criticism and art theory in modern times. So modernism in the web world, I would say it's 2007 to present. Here's the Zerb Foundation site, an example of flat design. And in the web world, it's a reaction to mobile devices, right? So we've had mobile, the flat screen, touch screen for about 8 years now, more ubiquitous. In the web world, we've been reacting with frameworks, grids, and parallax design, mobile first, some reactions there. So it's a reaction to the technology present. We've got some trends that seem to be asserting themselves right now, like the hero image. And I want to find something goofier, but I guess Gil is pretty good. You know, don't want to make fun of Gil. Hopefully Gil's not here. But you know, the ubiquity of the hero image, and we just put up our new website. It has a hero image, so I'm criticizing it at the same time I'm being I'm not being true to my word here. So, you know, right now we have hero images everywhere. We have JavaScript front ends, and we have a pending battle between the open and closed web. So, and yeah, I'm just going to drop that. That's another session, perhaps. So, and then we have other oddities like brutalism coming up, which is sort of not modern. It's sort of postmodern because it's looking back. It's like already the web's only been around for 25 years or so, 25 years. And we're already looking back. We're already looking back at it. Like, you know, that first website, oh, can we make things like that first website? Or, you know, if you had a preference list, it's doing the same since it's gone up, right? So, and then we have Bloomberg, you know, I mean, this is a financial newspaper using this very quirky style. And in Baltimore, we just tore down our brutalist documenters downtown. And, you know, there's a small uproar amongst us artsy types, but, you know, the general public didn't hear that. And, you know, even my hometown of Syracuse, I was just walking through the university here and noticing how the consistency in architecture here, but when you walk through Syracuse University, it's a hodgepodge. Last time I walked through there, you know, we had a lot of brutalist architecture in Syracuse. We had Everson View, the building by IMK. Utica has a IMK museum. The university has all these styles dropped in there. We have these postmodern buildings. We have classic buildings from the early university, things that look like Hogwarts, and it's such a mismatch. And you know, on one hand, I can appreciate the adventuresomeness of that and the freedom of putting all these styles together. But on the other hand, I look around and go, shouldn't there have been a plan? Yes. So that concludes the art history section of this talk. So now we have a lot of distractions to think about while we talk about web design. So there was a very good talk yesterday. Jennifer from American Graphics Institute that covered design principles. I have one slide sort of summarizes some things. This talk is really not about that, but I just thought I'd drop these in here, and there are some overriding principles being obvious. You know, time that the screen draws, time that the user takes to find what they need, focusing attention. We're always hearing top left to lower right. Is that really the case? Content first, which is always a difficulty when dealing with clients who often don't have content or need updated content. Simplification, which clients resist. They always want more, designers want less. The big hero image wants one chunk of big text on it. So there's challenges there. White space, clients don't appreciate white space. Designers love white space. It's automobile. I should have the old Volkswagen ad with a little the Volkswagen Beetle, and the whole page is blank except for that. You know, do we challenge conventions or do we succumb to conventions? And this is an interesting point here. So, you know, when a user comes to your website, they're used to certain things. They're used to navigation at the top, used to drop-down navigation, used to certain things, vertical scroll on page in the window. There's certain things that are difficult to design against or not design into something. But how do we stretch the medium? Look, now we've had these platforms, touch screens for so long. Are those conventions on the phone or on the tablet? People are always swiping vertically, or are they swiping horizontally in different ways on the phone and tablet? Repurposing design elements to encourage consistency. We use graphical elements for consistency, and develop graphics that make sense in the responsive design world. So here are some of our challenges. Designers versus programmers. This is sort of a more